All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for this session of the Changeover training series. Today, we'll be going over some district training items specifically for district administrators using the district version of Club Runner. My name is Michael. I'm a member of the Club Runner support team, and I am joined here with my co-host, Robin.
Hi, folks. I think I've recognized a couple of you from the session earlier this afternoon. Just so you're aware, I'm going to be handling the QA and the chat portion. You'll notice that they're separated in two sections. If you have any questions related to the webinar, feel free to throw them into the Q&A. If you have any general questions or anything to say, maybe you want to check in, please leave that into the chat section. And then at the end of the webinar, I'm going to pop back in and then we'll circle back and we'll answer any questions that come up during the webinar.
Thank you very much, Robin. So yeah, we'll be going through the webinar today. Once everything's been wrapped up, Robin will go ahead and host his Q&A session, where I'll pass it over to him to discuss some of the stuff that you guys might have questions about throughout the webinar. So to jump right into it, here are some of the topics that we will be discussing today. First, we'll be going in and taking a look at how you can go about gaining access to your district website and the various different functionalities that are available within it. Next, we'll be taking a look at how you can go ahead and help manage any clubs that are within your district, including their basic club information, executives lists, and just general member information, their member profiles. We will be briefly touching on RI integration and how you can assist clubs in getting that set up through Club Runner. Finally, we'll also be touching on very briefly about how you can go about managing the district information, like district organization charts, going out, sending out emails to your district and membership. And then finally, we'll be discussing some blocked emails. So maybe some of you, if you've already been using Club Runner, you might have noticed a yellow banner up at the top, letting you know that you've seen some blocked emails. We will be discussing that briefly today as well. So that's just about everything that we will be covering in the webinar today. So let's go ahead and let's jump right over into our district website that we'll be using for this webinar. Let's see here. All right. So with this, we are going to assume that you've already gone through and you know how to log in to Club Runner and your district website and just generally how to navigate around. But generally, once you log in, you will be first brought to this district administrator view. It may look slightly different for you, depending on the current level of access that you have applied to yourself. So you might see that some of these options are grayed out and you can't click on them. Some of these items might not even appear for you in general. It maybe your section looks a little something like this instead. So it's important to know from where what items you can access. So in general, if you're looking at this page, you generally means you don't really have much district access and you'll have to reach out to your district administrators to help out in that case. But assuming that you are a district administrator, you will need to cover a lot of the contents in this webinar today. Everything that you can access will be in this district admin dashboard here. If you do not have access to certain areas and you believe that you should, your district site administrators will be able to go through and update your access through what are called access rights. And these will change exactly what you can actually go in and access within the district website, whether you can go out and you can help manage the district, manage your clubs within the district, stuff like that. So if you don't have access, please do reach out to whoever your site administrators are, and they will be able to assist. Sorry. If your district unfortunately does not currently have a site administrator for whatever reason, The current year district governor will also be able to reach out to our club runner support team, and he will be able to authorize us to go in and assign a site administrator for your district, as well as provide these access rights to themselves as well, so that they can help and start administering future access rights to everyone. So I've been talking a lot about access rights so far, but what exactly are they? If I am a site administrator, how do I go about actually assigning these access rights? Well, you might see, we're looking on this page right now, you might see under district management here, you will see this little link, member access rights, which we can currently click on as I am currently logged in as a site administrator. Remember, if you are not a site administrator, you will not be able to access this page. Alternatively, you can scroll up to the very top of the page and go to membership. And then in the secondary navigation menu, you'll find member access rights. And if we click on this, it will bring us to this page. Here, we'll be able to go through and start searching and select the member that we want to apply these access rights to. So we can either choose to select a specific club that is within our district here. And then in step 2, we can select the specific member. Alternatively, we can also, if we know the individual's name and we want to just search them this way, we can type in their last name or their first name, and then click next, and it'll find them in that list here for you to select. Once you have them selected, you can go ahead and click continue, and it will bring you to this page. This page will list out all of the different access rights that are available for the district to use, and it'll display which ones that selected member currently has applied to them. So we are currently logged in as Aaron Aronson here. Right now, Aaron has 2 access rights applied to them. One is the administrator access right, and the other is the grant administrator access right here. Since they both have the checkbox next to them, that will indicate that it's applied to their account. But now, whenever you're on this page, all you have to do to apply a specific access right to a member is select that checkbox, as I just said, and then you can go ahead and click on the Save button down in the bottom right corner, and then it will save that change and boot you right back out to this section where you can select your members. Now let's go back in and take a look at these. What exactly do each of these access rights actually do for you? Well, let's go from the top to the bottom. The administrator access right is the big one. This will give you full administrative access to not quite everything on the district website, but pretty much everything. There are some exceptions like the grant access down here. If your district does subscribe to the Club Runner Grants module, this administrator access right won't provide that access to the grants module, but it'll give you just about everything else. Website content will provide an individual with access to go in and actually create content for your website, whether that be stories, photo albums, or just general items. Like if we go up to this website section in the top left corner and we go to website content, this is generally the area that you will be able to go in and you'll be able to start creating items within. So stories, as I said, news articles, which is in addition to stories, download files, photo albums, custom widgets. They'll be able to go in and upload images to the image library, for example. This is all given to access to by that website content editor role. Now, what the website content editor role is not going to give you access to is the actual website designer to go in and edit your homepage itself. You can go in and you can make the content that will appear on it, but you won't be able to edit the layout or the widgets that are used or anything like that. That is provided by that big administrator access level currently. So if someone needs to be able to go in and edit that website and go through the website designer, you'll want to give them that administrator access level or access rights, sorry. Next is the attendance editor access right. This will specifically give an individual the ability to view and change the attendance records for the various clubs within your district. They'll be able to go in and manage the attendance, as well as access all of the different attendance reports that are provided. The membership editor access right does exactly that. It allows the individual that has this access right to be able to go in and edit the membership across all of the different clubs within your district. This includes member profiles, the club executives and directors list, access to the reports for those members, the club attendance, etc. Anything that pertains to a club's specific membership, this will give them access to. The club information editor access right is very similar to the membership editor one, except this will provide an individual access to make all these changes to their specific club. So the membership editor role will give a blanket access to edit your district's membership, while the club information editor will give only access to the club that member is a part of. Now, it's important to note, this access right is automatically granted to the executives of the clubs in your district. So for example, I'll touch on this in just a little bit, but if a member of a club is listed as, say, like the club secretary, the club treasurer, club president, this in the actual executives and directors list, this club information editor access right will be automatically granted to them, though if you were to come into this access rights page, you wouldn't see it selected. It's just by being listed as a club executive, they are granted this permission. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. Perfect. So that's it for the membership editor access rights and the club information editor. Next, let's talk about these two access rights: district communication email executives only and district communication email all members. These two access rights provide very similar functionality, except they work hand in hand. The email executives only functionality provides an individual with access to the communications module to go in and send out emails and bulletins, but they will only be able to send those out to the executives of the district and the clubs within the district itself. They will not have access to go out and send out emails to the general population of the district or the general district membership. It is only only the executive position holders at the district level and at the club level. Email all members, on the other hand, will then grant the second half of that, where it will allow them to go through and start sending out emails to the entire membership of the district. So it's important to review when you're assigning these access rights that you assign out the ones that apply to an individual and who you want them to be able to send out these emails to. Next is the event access right. This will allow individuals to go through and actually create and schedule events within the district. So if we go in the top blue navigation bar and click events here, this will very specifically give them access to the event planner, calendar items, and cloud events modules so that they can go in and start hosting these events for the district and create them on behalf of the district. There is also the My Event Runner Administrator access right. That will provide individuals with access to the My Event Runner module as well. So these both help to allow individuals to go in and create events for the district. It just, depending on which one has been assigned to them, they'll be able to access certain event modules versus the other. The district beta access right is a little bit of an older one. You don't need to worry about this too much. In fact, you don't even really need to worry about this one at all. So let's just go ahead and move on to the next one. Download member data. This is a very important one. This grants access to a lot of information. The download member data access right will provide individuals with access to the download member data report and will effectively allow them to perform a full export of the district's entire membership information. So you only want to grant these to people, this access right to people that you want to be able to perform these sorts of exports, whether it be a full data export of your membership, or if you want to do like a little bit more nuanced export, like say like a list of your club your club officers, or specific things like that, like members that joined after X date, for example. This is a very big one. It provides access to a lot of information, so I do recommend that you do be careful with this one. Next are these last three access rights here. These are some of the ones that are not provided automatically by having the administrator access right. Everything else that we talked about is automatically provided to that site administrator, but not these last three. The grant administrator access right will allow users to go in and actually set up and administer the grants module if that is something that your district is currently subscribed to. So this includes all of the major configuration. They can go in and they can manage the individual grant requests and move them along as necessary. The grant user, on the other hand, is just would be like example a grant committee member who goes in and they can help move grant requests along, but they're not actually in charge of the module or anything like that. They can't go in and make configuration changes. They'll just be able to help process those grant requests. And then MER read-only access, that is My Event Runner read-only access. That will provide a user with the ability to go into the My Event Runner module, but they won't actually be able to make any changes. So if they need to be able to see inside that module to take a look at how the events are doing, you can give, but you don't want them to be able to go in and actually make changes. You can give them MER read-only access, and they will be able to go in and do just that. Now, if you want to see a list of who has a specific access right in your district, along each access right, there is a list here that you can click on. So if we click on the one for administrator, it will show us a big list of all of the different individuals in our district that have that specific access right. And then you can click view member access rights to go to the to open up their profile in this page and see everything that they do have there. Again, once you are done making any changes that you need to make, go ahead and click save, and you'll be booted right back out here, so that and all of that will be updated. Now, it's important to note, once a member's access rights have been updated, if they are already logged into the system, they will need to log out and then log back in before they see that change go through. So now that we've gone through and we have set up our access rights, let's go through and take a look at some of the things that you can do with that. The first thing that I want to go over today is taking a look at helping to update your club information, your club's information, as well as their membership. All of that can be accessed in the top blue navigation bar by going to the membership tab and then going to clubs and membership. This will bring you to this page here, where you'll have access to the full list of all of the clubs that are listed within your district. And then you'll have a couple of actions that are available to you for each of those clubs. You'll have access to the executives list of that club. So you'll be able to go in and make changes to that list of executives. You can see their club information and make changes to that. You can gain access to upload a new club logo for them. You can view their active membership list, any non-member users that they might have added to their club or allowed access into their systems. And then you'll also have access to their inactive members list. So this would be any of their ex-members or just individuals that they've terminated from the club previously for any reason. There is an option to delete those clubs. It will be grayed out for pretty much everyone. If there is a case where you do need to delete a club from the district, please do reach out to our club runner support team and we'll be able to assist in that case. Now, let's take a look at the first option here. Not necessarily the first option in the list, but let's take a look at editing a club's specific club information. So we will go over, we'll find the club in the list that we want to edit. And then we will go over to the action column section and click on club info. This will bring up all of the club information for that specific club. And we can go through and we can start making changes to these things. So for example, this club has changed their meeting location and we want to go in and we want to make changes to that. We can find the section that we want to change, so our meeting information here. And in the top right corner of that section, you will find this edit button. Clicking on that will bring up this screen here, where we can now go through and we can change the meeting information. So let's say they've changed their meetings from Friday to Saturday, and instead of being at 7:30 p.m., it is now at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. Yeah. We can now change the meeting comments. Saturdays at 10 a.m. But in general, the other meeting information just remains the same. There is the option to go through and state whether or not they have an online meeting option as well, which you can provide like a Zoom meeting link or a Microsoft Teams meeting link or anything like that, and any private details. As a note, any of the details shared in this private details option will only be available to the club and members of the club who can log in to the district website or to the club's website if they are subscribed to Club Runner on their own. Then you can change the exact meeting location here as well. Once that's been updated, you can go ahead and click Save in the bottom right corner. And you'll get a nice message up at the top that says Meetings Updated, letting you know that those changes that you made were done successfully. And you can see our meeting schedule is now Saturdays at 10 a.m. This process works exactly the same for each of these other sections here as well. So we can edit the club details, and that will allow us to go in and make changes to like the club name, the short version of their name, the date that they've chartered. It doesn't seem to be opening for me, unfortunately. Not too sure what's going on there, but you'll generally be able to go in and make any changes that you want to these different sections. So general club details, meeting information, contact info, and then there are some additional settings here, like whether or not the club wants to hide their member profile pictures from the public, like in the case on the district website, for example, there is the district executives and officers listing, and that will generally display each of the officers' profile photo. Disabling this option will make it so that those photos are kept private. So that's how you can go about editing the individual club information. Now let's go about editing the actual club's executives. What we can do is if we scroll back up to the top of this page here, we can either choose to go back to that last page that we were on, but in this case, there's an executives tab here that we can click on, and clicking on that will bring us to this page. This will display all of the different executives for this club, and it will allow us to go through and make any changes that we might need. So for example here, let's say our treasurer, Jamie Geeve here, has unfortunately left the club. They're no longer with us. So we have appointed a new club treasurer, or a new club treasurer has been appointed, I should say. So we need to change that name here to another member. So let's go ahead and click on edit for that treasurer. And now we will have the full list of, we'll have this edit position window pop up where we can select the position, the title, and the full list of the members of the club. So we can scroll through this list as we want, find the member that we want to assign to this position, select them in the list, and then click save. You'll get a nice message, club executive updated. And if we scroll back down, our treasurer is now listed here as Vincent Valentine. You can go ahead and edit any of these different positions as you see fit. So we can change the president. If we want to, we can change the title that they hold. So this one is titled president and then in brackets R. So we can remove that and just make it president, for example. We can clear any of these positions by clicking on the clear action, then click OK. And you can now see that that position has been cleared and there's no longer a member listed for them. Or we can go ahead and we can delete these actions, or it's not these positions. And that will remove them from that list here. So we've gone through and we've edited the club executives for this club, but that was just the current year. We can also go ahead and edit the previous years and future years in this case by clicking on the previous year or the next year items or links up at the top. So let's go to the 2024-2025 year. And you can see we already have some information listed. Let's actually go to the next year as well. Let's see if we have a good position. Okay. So for the sake of this example, we're going to go to 2026-2027. And let's go ahead and let's start adding some individuals for this rotary year. Let's select our president. Let's select our secretary. And then let's go ahead and select our treasurer. So we have all of these individuals selected. Now, what if there was another position here that's not available on that list, but we want to list someone else, but none of the positions that are already here quite fit? Well, what we can do is click on the Add New Position button in the top right corner. This will open up a very similar window to the one that we've been seeing already. But now we can add a new position from scratch. So let's first select the position itself, or the general position. So let's say this is just going to be a regular club administrator. As a note, if if the positions here don't quite add up to what you are looking for or what the club is looking for, there is a way to go ahead and create custom positions as well. And I will show you how to do that in just a moment here. So let's go ahead and select Club Administrator. We can change the title if we want to, but for now, let's just go ahead and leave it as Club Administrator. I just realized it's spelt incorrectly, Club Administrator. And then we can go ahead and select our member. It works exactly the same as when we were editing these positions. You just go through and you select them from the list, and then you click Save. Then you can see Enrica Bunt here is now listed as our club administrator. If we want to change the position that they are listed here, we can use these three dots on the left-hand side to reposition them in the list. Now there's one last thing on this page that I haven't talked about quite yet, and that is the carry over next year button. And what this will do is it will take the current list of executives, specifically the positions, and it will recreate them in the next year. So for example, if we go over to the next rotary year, in this case, the 2027-2028 year, you should see that it appears as empty. Let's go ahead and give it just a moment here. So generally, for each rotary year, you will have to go through and you will have to manually input each of those specific positions. And here you go. For the 2027 to 2028 rotary year, there are no positions listed. But if you already have a setup in a previous rotary year that you like, for example, the one that we have in 2026, 2027, we can go ahead and click carry over next year. And then that will say the club executive and director's positions, as well as your yearly committees for that club, have been successfully carried over to the next year. Now, if we were to go to the 2028 or 2027, 2028 year, you see all of these positions are now available for you to go in and select the members of the club to hold those positions. Now, I did mention that you can go through and create custom positions. So let's show that off very quickly here. We are going to scroll up to the very top of the website, and we will go to organization in this top blue navigation bar. And then we will go to define club position types. Let me zoom in just a little bit. And now we can go through and we can define the different positions that clubs can go through and select. So you can see here we have our president, president-elect, executive secretary, secretary treasurer. All of these different positions have been defined and are made available for your clubs to select, or for your district administrators to go in and select them on behalf of the club. If we want to go in and add a new position, all we need to do is click Add New Position in the top right corner. And then a new line will be added towards the bottom, where we can start entering in that information. So let's say, say club grant officer. We'll enter in a name for them. We can select what kind of position this is, whether it's an executive, director, or another type of position. Let's go ahead and select director. And then the code here, this will, depending on the code that you select, will change the way that position synchronizes over to Rotary if that club has RI integration enabled for their club. So for example, if we were to select president here, anyone listed as this club grant officer will be synchronized over to Rotary as the club president. Same thing for Rotary, like the Rotary Foundation officer, club membership chair, sergeant at arms. This is the position on Rotary's end that this position we are creating right now will be defined as. If you don't want that position to synchronize, you can generally just click other, and that'll be good to go. And from there, we can go ahead and click save. And now this club grant officer position we just created will be able to be selected by your clubs, and in that just general executives and directors page for a new position. So we've gone ahead and we've talked about editing our club information or our club's information and their executives and directors list. Let's take a look at how we could go about editing the actual membership of our clubs. So let's scroll back up to the top, and we will go back to membership in this blue navigation bar. And we will once again go to clubs and membership. From here, we can scroll down and we'll have access to that big list of all of our clubs. And from here, we can go ahead and click on the members action for the club we want to edit. Now we will have access to the list of that club's members. And we can go ahead and we can start making changes to these members. First, we have access to these different actions here. So we can apply designations to these members, like the Paul Harris Fellow or any other designations we want to apply. So like whether they're a sustaining member, a past district officer, past DG, if they're in the Bequest Society, stuff like that, you can go ahead and you can apply these designations to them. Let's go ahead and go back. You can change their status as well. So this will allow you to go through and do things like terminate their membership. You can go through and you can change their membership status. So if they are an active member, you can go ahead and change them to, say, an honorary member. Or the other way around, if they're an honorary member, you can change them to an active member. And then finally, you can edit their active member type. And this will go through and allow you to change for any active members, the specific type of active member that they are. So there are, I believe let's take a look at this actually. By default, there is the standard active member of the club. And then but you could also change them to a satellite member or a corporate member, for example. So we can make those changes, click save, and that will go ahead and update their profile. Now, in this case, it brought us right into their profile afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and navigate right back to this page here, just to show this off as well. The last action that is available is to go ahead and reset their password, which will allow you to go through and actually reset their password for them in the event they are unable to log in. All of this can also be done directly through the member profile, which we can edit further information on by clicking on the member's name. So let's click on Jimmy Allen here. And this will go ahead and it will open up Jimmy Allen's profile, where we can see their profile picture. And if we scroll down, we can start to see all of their member details. We have their home address, if a work address, if that's been provided, as well as any custom fields that might have been created for that club. If we want to edit any of this information, we can go ahead and click on the edit button at the top right or the bottom right of the page. And once that's done, it will allow us to go in and actually make all of the changes to those different fields. So let's say, for example, um, Jimmy's name here is actually James, and he wants his first name listed properly. But Jimmy is just his nickname, so we can go ahead and we can add that to the nickname field. We want Jimmy here wants to add their spouse's information into their profile as well. So we can go and add in that information too. So let's say our spouse/partner first name, Linda, and their spouse partner last name, Alan. And then you can share whatever additional information that they want here as well. If we scroll down, we can now change their home address if we want to, their home phone, cell phone number, fax number if they still have one. They can add in their work information, and we can go through and we can enter in any of the information for the different custom fields that are here. Once you're done making changes to the section of the profile, all we need to do is go ahead and click save. And now you can see those changes that we've made have been finished. James's first name is now James, their nickname is set to Jimmy, and their spouse Linda Allen's information is now listed here, as well as the change to the address that we made too. Now, there are a couple of different tabs of the member profile that that you can go in to access different information about that member. So right now we are on the personal section, which is just the member's general personal information, like their name, address, cell phone number, stuff like that. If we go over into the Rotary tab, this is where we'll have access to their general Rotary information. You'll see their club is listed here. They have their Rotary member number field. In this case, James doesn't have one listed, so it's important to go through and actually make sure we can get one added to him. Let's go ahead and do that. Just like we did before, we'll click on edit, and then we'll scroll down and we'll find the Rotary member number field. And let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say that that's their Rotary member number. If we want to change anything else here, we can as well. It all works exactly the same. The reason why I want to point out this Rotary member number field is that this field is the actual member's Rotary ID. This is where that should be listed. In order for a member to synchronize with Rotary International using the RI integration service that we'll go over in just a minute here, each member's Rotary ID number must be listed in their member profile in this specific field, the Rotary member number field. If it is not listed or an incorrect record or incorrect ID is here, then their information will not be able to synchronize. So always make sure go in if they're having any issues synchronizing information, this is a very good first spot to check. Once you make your changes, go ahead and click save. And now you can see that's been updated for us. And now you can do that exact same thing for every single one of these sections. The biography will allow the member to go in and add a biography to their profile. So they have a public biography, a vocational biography, as well as a private biography. These can all be edited by the member. There is the commitments section, which can sometimes take a little bit to load, but in general, this will go through and it will display all of the members' upcoming commitments that they have, whether this be an event that they have signed up for, any volunteer tasks that they have signed up for as well, any committees that they are a part of. All of that will be listed under this commitments section. And again, sometimes this can take a little bit to load here. Let's see if this does come up. Doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I'm too happy with me right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to this settings section for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So this is where you'll be able to adjust a couple of different items. The first section here you'll see is system login, where you'll see a club access level. Now that kind of sounds familiar. Earlier in the webinar, we talked about the district access rights. So what's the club access level? Well, this is another form of access that is available within Club Runner, the club access level. The most important thing is that the club access level is not used at the district level whatsoever. This access level that's listed here is specifically for and it's used by clubs who have signed up for Club Runner and have their own Club Runner subscription and their own Club Runner website. It is important to note that in order for a member to come in and be able to manage their club through the district website on their own without the help of a district admin or anything like that, they simply need to be listed as a club executive in that executives and directors list that we went over just before this. If they have an access level and they are, or sorry, as long as they are on that executives and directors list, they will be able to edit their membership. The club access level that you see here has no sway or any bearing on what they can access if they are logged into the district website. So you can generally just kind of ignore this. If a club has their own subscription and they have their own website, they can change this access level of their members to adjust what that member can access at the club level. In fact, if we go ahead and click edit, we won't actually be able to go in and change this. If we click on the drop-down menu, it's like this is the only option that's there. You can't change it. But you'll also see under system login, we can change their username here as well. So if Jimmy Allen wanted to log in with a different username, they can change that here. Let's go ahead and click cancel here. And then one more thing on this page that before we move on is the reset password link that you see just below the username. As a district admin, we can go through if a member has not been able to or is struggling to log in, we can change their password to something temporary so that they can go ahead and get logged in. The password needs to contain at least eight characters and at least one number in order for it to be accepted. So we can go in and we can change the password, say oh, make sure that they match. Oh, did I do something wrong here? I'm not too sure why it's not happy with me right now. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So you can go in, make sure that they match, and then make sure it's a strong password as well. And then you can go ahead and just click save. And then once that's done, oh, sorry, looks like I put in the wrong, a bad one. Let's say, there we go. That should be fine. There we go. So we've gone ahead and we've changed Jimmy Allen's password here. Alternatively, they can also go to the Club Runner homepage. And if we go to the top right corner and click login, they'll be able to find their this link, forgot username and forgot password. They can enter in their email address. And once they click submit, this will go ahead and send them an email so that they can go ahead and it'll provide them their username and allow them to set a new password for themselves as well. So as a district admin, you can either direct them to this page, or you can go in and manually change the password for them just on their behalf. Okay. So we're almost out of time here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to the last couple of sections that we have here. The next one that I want to talk about is RI integration. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you this 100% live on this support website because this is an actual Rotary Club or anything like that. But if we go over to, I believe it was organization. Oh, no, membership. Sorry about that. We go over to membership and then RI member synchronization. This will provide us access to all of the different RI integration synchronization settings for our club so that they can go ahead and they can update or activate RI integration. So let's go ahead and find a club here. I'll say our Rotary Club of Bathurst. Go ahead and click RI synchronization settings under the action list. And now this page is where you'll go through and actually go through the process of setting up RI integration. The very first thing that needs to be done though is that a club officer, like the club president, secretary, or executive secretary, they will need to log in to rotary.org and select Club Runner as a club management vendor. So that I can show you what this looks like, I'm going to go over to our clubrunnersupport.com website. Let's say integration district. Let's go ahead and search, see if I can find the one that I'm looking for. Here we go, activating RI synchronization on the district by a district administrator. So this is generally what the process will look like. You will come in to this RI integration synchronization settings page that we just saw. And once the club has selected Club Runner as the club management vendor, this yellow box will appear where you can then go ahead and select switch on data integration between Club Runner and RI for all active member records within my club. Once that's been set up, RI integration will have then been enabled. And for data between the two systems will then start to flow, meaning that anytime you make a change within Club Runner to a club's membership, whether that be a simple profile update or a new member is added in Club Runner or a member is terminated, that information will automatically be sent over to Rotary International. There are some settings that you can do to configure this. So mainly some privacy information. So you can see here we have data sent to Rotary. So if there's any specific information that a club doesn't want to send over to Rotary International, like phone numbers, fax numbers, addresses, stuff like that, they can go ahead and update these privacy settings to uncheck those options. There is also the data received from a Rotary option. This is pretty new. For a long time, Club Runner Rotary integration only functioned really one way. Club Runner could send information over to Rotary automatically, but the opposite didn't really happen. If a change was made on Rotary International's website and Club Runner wasn't used, then that change would have to be manually pulled in using either done manually or using one of the tools that are available like compare and synchronize. But now, if you flip the switch on this data received from Rotary option, it'll work vice versa. Information in Club Runner will automatically be sent over to Rotary International, and information updated in Rotary International's database will automatically be pulled into Club Runner. Now, the last item here is the Rotary integration notification contact. So in the event that there are any issues with that synchronization process, and for any reason that information isn't quite able to be updated in one of the systems, an email will be sent to the individual that is selected as the RI notification contact to let them know about that potential issue and to inform them to go through and actually look into what's going on. By default, If no specific contact is specified, then it will automatically be sent to the current year secretary. If there is no current year secretary defined in the system, it will go to the next year's club secretary, then the previous year's secretary, and then it'll follow that exact same order of current year, next year, previous year for the club presidents as well. And if it can't find anyone through that entire process, it will then just go to the club's website contact. So that's everything that I can show you for RI integration in this case. This is a very important tool. It helps make managing the clubs a lot easier so that information doesn't have to be entered in two different places at once. You can just go ahead and make that change in one system and it'll automatically update it in the other, which is really cool. And now the last thing that I want to talk about today, if you have been using Club Runner already, you might have noticed this on your own district website or club websites. If we go back to the admin dashboard here, you might have noticed this yellow message up at the top. It says, attention needed. There are blocked emails that require your attention. As a result, some recipients may not be receiving emails. And then there's a link that you can click on to review the blocked email list here. Clicking on that link will bring you to this blocked emails page. And you'll, depending on the severity for your district or your club or how long it's been since you've last managed this page, you might see a lot of different emails listed here. In this case, we only have the one. But what exactly is this? Whenever an email is sent out in Club Runner to your membership, if for whatever reason that email fails to be delivered to that recipient's mail service and it bounces or it's blocked for whatever reason, a bounce back message is sent back over to Club Runner, giving us a reason as to why it wasn't accepted or why it failed to be delivered. A lot of the times, this is because of an invalid email address, which in this case, the reason for Aaron Aronson being blocked here is error dialing remote address, and then it has a bunch of information here. This might not mean anything to you, but generally whenever I see something like this, that will point out to me that the email address that they have here is invalid, and this mail server, rotaryclub.com, doesn't actually exist. So you'll want to come into this blocked email list and take a look at these individual records, see what the error might be. And if you're not quite too sure what they mean, you can always feel free to reach out to our support team and we can take a look for you. And try to fix any errors. So in this case, the email address for Aaron is wrong. So we'll go into Aaron's profile after we've confirmed the correct email address, update that email in their profile, and then we will come back here and unblock that record. As long as a member's email address is listed in this blocked email list, the Club Runner system will not be able to go through and actually continue to send out emails to them. They will continue to be blocked and they will not be able to be sent out until they have been unblocked from this list. So if you receive any complaints that a member might not be receiving any emails, you can come here, see if they're on this list, take a look at the reason as to why they were blocked, see if you can get that resolved, and then come back here and unblock them from that list. That is the general process of helping to manage emails on this blocked list. And now that it's empty, if we go back to our admin dashboard, you can see that message, that yellow message is no longer appearing for us. Again, if you're not quite too sure what any of those reasons mean, please feel free to reach out to our support team. Now, I wanted to thank all of you for sitting there and going through all this information in the webinar. I know it's a lot. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to pass it along over to my colleague Robin, who will be going through a bunch of the different questions that you guys have asked through the webinar, and just going through and answering them as best as we can. So,
Perfect.
Robin, feel free to take it away.
Thanks, Michael. I apologize, folks. I have the light coming into the window, so it makes me look even paler than normal, but I'll do my best to answer some of your questions. So I did answer a few of them, and I just want to push some of them to we'll just answer live. For example, Barry, you mentioned there was one question that you had, which was club officers have the ability to email club officers of all the other clubs. That is true. Fortunately, at district level, we at this time you did ask if we can turn that off. Unfortunately, we cannot turn that off. I will definitely file a feature request for you in that instance, though. That's great feedback. This is another question that we get quite a bit of too. Sometimes you'll have clubs that have multiple meeting locations. Regrettably, within the club runner system, it's only set up to allow one at a time. But what you can do, and what I've seen some clubs do, is they've used the event planner, for example, to let folks know if they have an alternative meeting location. They'll use the event planner and they'll add that to their calendar and say, "Hey, folks, we're meeting at the alternate location today." That's where we go. Unfortunately, there is no built-in way to kind of add that. What you might want to add, Michael, if you've got a suggestion or something,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, just to add on to what Robin was saying, you can go ahead and you can create events in Event Planner to show off all of your individual instances of your club meetings. The calendar items would be a good alternative to that as well, because you can set them up to recur on a regular basis. Alternatively, whenever or in that club meeting information section, there is a like meeting comments, which can be used to provide additional details. So if a club is meeting multiple times, we also recommend including that information in the meeting comments section too. It's a good
Perfect.
question. Thank you, Barry.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks, Barry. We got a question from the anonymous attendee. Can you only change blocked emails one at a time, or can you manage them as a group? You can absolutely manage them as a group. When you're on that page itself, you've got two options. I've noticed some clubs will have, let's say, 100, 150 plus. What I would suggest is um, clicking, once you're on that page, you'll see to the left of all the different, oh, there's nothing there, unfortunately, but to the left, let's say that we had 50 here. To the left of every single name would be a checkbox. If you were to scroll down, you'd have the option to check all, and then you have the option of removing all. So keep in mind, if you've got all 50 there, they're all highlighted and you can remove them all from the block list. But the only issue is that they could all have different reasons, right? So yeah,
Sorry, guys.
unfortunately,
I tried to find an example for you, but it looks like the screenshots don't quite exactly show it.
no
But
problem.
yeah,
But
as Robin said, there are checkboxes that you can click along the left-hand side, and at the very bottom, there's an unblock selected option that you can use. Sorry, I don't have an example to show you, but
no,
that is possible.
I appreciate you though. Thank you for trying. But yeah, it's really simple. It's really straightforward. You just click as many as or as few as you like, and then you would just click the remove selected and to remove them from the block list entirely. If you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to reach out to us. We can give you some guidance there as well. And Myrna Inglis has another question. Is there any way to find a member where you don't know which club they attend? Absolutely. Assuming that you have the right access level at the district level, you have the member search tool. You can search either by their first and last name or their email, and then just look for, yeah, Michael's going to pull it up right here. Exactly. So if you don't know, if you don't know the club, no problem. All you need is really just a first and a last name. And then
Sorry, that didn't work because I'm logged in as Aaron. You
yeah,
can't search yourself, but
perfect. So exactly like that. So if you have the name, you can pull up and then it'll give you all the information, any information they have on the profile, as well as the club that they're a member of. So that was a great question. Now, if you are almost certain that there's someone is in the club, but they can't find them, like always, I always say reach out to customer support. We can always assist. Just going over some other questions as well that I saw. Sometimes folks will be kind of confused about the club and district access levels or the login. If you're ever in doubt, reach out to us. But if your club has a subscription to Club Runner, independent of the district, you'll have a club and a district login. Whereas if your club doesn't, but you're on the district level still, but your district subscribes to Club Runner, then you'll be able to log in using the district site. Uh, does that search? Oh, actually, that's a great question, Camilla. She just asked, does that search feature work in the app? I'm almost certain it doesn't, but let me check. Actually, yeah, no,
So
it does. Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead, Robin. You have it.
No, it does. Yeah, sorry, I was pulling up my app real time while I was here. Your question made me doubt myself for some reason, Camilla. So, but yes, there is a member search function. Is there any additional? Perfect. Okay, and then Shirley Pinnix Evans asked, "Are there any additional fees for setting up a grant administrator at for district level?" No, there is not. You just give them all you have to do is just make sure that they have the specific access right, and they're good to go. So does anybody have any?
Sorry,
No, go
sorry,
ahead.
Robin. Just to add some additional clarification to that grants question. Um, there is a fee to like sign up and subscribe to the module itself. But there is no fee in terms of adding additional grant admins or anything like that. It's just the one pricing for the like to access the module.
Yes, great. Thank you, Michael. Very, very key point. I would have been remiss if you all walked away from that unaware of that. So I appreciate you, Michael. It looks like the questions are actually set. I know that there was someone. Let me quickly check. I am going to have to reach out to someone on the call or on the chat. I said that I would have to reach out. Bob, you mentioned that the club will be reaching out to us, so that'd be great. So I think yeah, it seems like we're good for questions now, Michael.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Robin, for that Q&A section. So with all of that said, we are going to wrap up the webinar here. Here, sorry, on screen, you'll see a couple of our pieces of contact information. If you want to send us our support team an email, you can send that over to support@clubrunner.ca. You can also go ahead and visit our Clubrunner community by going to clubrunnercommunity.com. It's a big one big community forum that you can go in and you can get in touch with other users of Clubrunner. And as a reminder, you can go to clubrunner.com/mobile to download our free Clubrunner mobile application. It's a really good tool. I love using it all the time. I'm always happy whenever I see clubs using it. It's very helpful. Go take a look at it if you haven't already. And with all that said, thank you very much for attending the webinar today. I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Take care, everyone.
Bye, folks.